There have been a lot of games lately trying to recreate that old retro magic, but one of the most successful attempts had to be Hyper Light Drifter. I mean, what can I say? It was like a special kind of tribute to the 8 and 16-bit classics, taking its inspiration from games such as Diablo, and of course most notably The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. In fact, just by looking at it from the map to the bushes, this game had Zelda all over it. The graphics remained faithful to that pixel style, and yet I never ceased to be amazed by the sheer amount of detail packed into every screen. Wherever you looked, there was always something cool going on, whether it was ancient giants rising from the ground, the remnants of an old past war, and my personal favourite, the crazy remains of science experiments gone wrong, left to rot in an abandoned laboratory. The game took place in 4 different temples, each centred around a main town hub. It was here that you would shop to upgrade your character, learn new moves, boost your health, and buy grenades. Essentially it was where you did your levelling up. The currency was made up of little gold things, apparently called gear bits. Occasionally these were dropped by enemies or were found in secret areas. 4 gear bits would get you an upgrade bit, useful in any of the shops. Getting around the map was made easy. Just like the bird system from A Link to the Past, Hyper Light Drifter also had a similar warp feature. Getting between the town and the temples you'd visited could be done at any time, so bonus points for that. While there were some limitations as to where you could go, the world was pretty much open to you from the start. All that would change was that a few walls would come down when a temple was completed, often leading to new secret areas and providing even more gear bits. But enough about gear bits, let's get to the good stuff, the combat. While it may have looked simple, it did in fact have a certain skill to it. You would attack 3 times before briefly pausing. Basically you wanted to make sure that after your 3 strikes were up, either the enemy was dead, or at the very least you had dashed your way out of there. This dash was just as important as your sword because it was your main means of defense, plus it was needed to traverse some of the game's traps. Even the wall and floor couldn't be relied on. As the fight went on and more enemies got spawned in, often the entire layout of the room would alter as the battle evolved. Now as you can see, you'd come across a bunch of different guns on your adventures. These were great for keeping a distance, but it took some getting used to the aiming. It was all done on the left stick rather than on the right like you'd typically use in your twin stick shooters. Clip sizes were low, although hitting an enemy with your sword replenished ammo. It kept the action switching between blasting, slashing and dashing. Of course though, enemies also had projectile weapons, so here's a bit of advice. As soon as possible, purchase the ability to rebound shots. It will definitely help you out, especially against some of the bosses. So on to the game's difficulty. A lot of people seem to find Hyper Light Drifter challenging, but I don't know, I found it alright. Apparently its hardness wavered about through various update patches, but as it was, I didn't find any moments too frustrating. I guess it comes down to whether you're used to this type of game or not. One thing that I did appreciate was the fact that the map came pre-filled in, so it was impossible to get lost and even made secret finding a little bit easier. There was no need for a dungeon map in this game. The plot? Well, the plot was told through the odd cutscene or through stories told by NPCs. Little pictures would appear in dialogue boxes, giving you a glimpse of the backstory. There were no voices here, but nonetheless, when a knight revealed new locations on your map, you didn't need telling why to go check them out, you just did. It always left things open to interpretation. It's worth pointing out that your main character in this game, known as the Drifter, was unfortunately ailed with a terminal illness. Throughout the adventure you saw signs of him suffering. It wasn't simply a plot mechanic though, it was a metaphor for the real-life heart condition that lead developer Alex Preston has, hence the development team's name, Heart Machine. So that's how you do retro-style games right. You take what made the classics great and elevate them to be at home in a modern time. Modern games are, as a British £2 coin puts it, standing on the shoulders of giants. If you enjoyed this week's video, then click here to subscribe to A's Gaming Moments, and as always, thanks for watching, I'll see you next week.